yo me llamo Desiree. Soy una abogada afro-latina licenciada practicando las leyes criminales, pero como todos ustedes, a mí me fascina cuando estamos hablando de casos de crímenes reales. En este video vamos a hablar del caso de Mónica Sementilli. Si quieren más video en español, llamadme allá abajo. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Desiree. I'm a licensed and practicing Afro-Latina criminal attorney who, much like the rest of you, has this severe fascination with true crime cases. Listen, the case we're going to talk about today, much like the case we talked about last week, is still ongoing. This case is in trial as we speak. This case has so much. My goodness. It has swingers, porn stars, registered child sex offenders, and the murder of a celebrity hairstylist. And that is the case of Mónica Sementilli. But, like I always like to do, before we talk about Mónica, who she is and what she's alleged to have done, let's talk about the alleged victim of Mónica's crime. And that is Fabio Sementilli. Fabio Sementilli was born on July 13th, 1967 in Toronto, Canada. Fabio's parents, Luigi and Mirella Sementilli, raised Fabio and his sister, Mirella. Fabio and his sister were extraordinarily close. Together, they worked as hairstylists in their hometown of Toronto, Canada.
Hey guys, this is Fabio Sementilli for Modern Salon. I can't believe it. Maggie, thanks for the opportunity. I'm here at Intercoiffure in Miami, and I couldn't be more proud and more pleased to introduce you to someone very special to me. This is my sister, Mirella Rhoda. And before I pass you on to Mirella Rhoda, because she always steals the scene because she's so beautiful. But before I pass you on to Mirella, I just want to say that mentorship across our industry is one of the most valuable gifts we could give people.
Fabio's charm, ability to connect with anybody, and his phenomenal personality made for a quick rise in the beauty community.
I think about this a lot, you know, when you kind of sit in the backyard and I say to myself, you know, what do I want to be remembered for? Maybe I hope other people do that. And I always say to myself, I want to be remembered for the relationships I've built. I want to be remembered for how maybe I've made people feel in a positive light. And if it was negative for any reason, it's because I was honest. I hope that's what I'm remembered for.
Fabio often competed in international hairstyling competitions, and his name was one that was well known and recognized in the beauty community.
I did not pre-cut this at all, so what you see here is what I saw when I first met her, okay? And I didn't want to bring her up here all tricked out. I wanted to make sure that we're going to cut her fringe. One thing I'm just going to do is just take a secondary section, nice and easy and simple. And what I want to share with you and drive home is that when it comes to the fringe area, this is a money machine area. If you're not taking advantage of the fringe, and if you're not making the fringe almost its own haircut within a haircut, I think you're losing out on some dollars, profile of the salon, and a little bit of that customization work, your signature.
In 2008, Fabio was promoted to Vice President of Education for the beauty division of a company called Wella. Wella is a beauty giant. It is a worldwide $4 billion company. So for Fabio to have this accomplishment was no small feat. As most people address Fabio, they call him a celebrity hairstylist. The names of the celebrities he worked with are just not made public as of yet. While doing what he loved, Fabio would meet someone he would grow to love, and that's Mónica Sementilli. Mónica was not only a makeup artist, she was one of Fabio's clients when they met, and the pair got married in 1997. Although Mónica was Fabio's second wife, that marriage lasted nearly 2 full decades. From his prior marriage, Fabio had one son named Luigi Sementilli, just like his father. Together, Mónica and Fabio raised 2 daughters, Isabella and Jessica Sementilli. By all accounts, Fabio was completely enamored with his wife Mónica. He coined her with beautiful pet names like My Queen and Pootsie. He would often brag about Monica and their date nights to friends and colleagues. Even when he was busy at work, he would make time throughout the day to call and check in on Monica. And when he could, he would try to sneak out of the office just so he could spend more time with her. As part of Fabio's job at Wella, he was told he had to relocate from Canada to the United States. Accordingly, Fabio left his extended family behind and moved to Los Angeles around 2010. Being an executive at Wella afforded Fabio and his family a pretty sweet lifestyle. Although not specifically named by prosecutors, Fabio brought in a substantial salary. In addition to Fabio's substantial salary, his position at Wella afforded him numerous benefits, like health insurance, stock options, and retirement. In addition to the benefits of his position, Fabio was able to buy his family not one, but two pretty sweet houses. The Sementilli family lived in a massive house in the San Fernando Valley area. One of the things Fabio loved to do when he was not traveling or working was enjoy his time in the back patio of his family home. Fabio installed a television back there, and he would go chill, smoke cigars, and just unwind. So what was Monica doing while her husband was raking in all the dough? She was doing whatever she wanted, quite frankly. Prosecutors state that Monica was able to manage the family's schedules as Fabio worked and made all the money. Monica's lifestyle was intense. She enjoyed luxuries that some of us can only dream of. Monica enjoyed a housekeeper, a pool cleaner, and a gardener. In addition to all of the phenomenal benefits that Wella would offer, it often paid for trips for Monica and Fabio to travel the world. Some of the locations for those trips were Hawaii, St. Thomas, and Cabo. Fabio would always bring Monica along with him for those trips. In the beauty industry, these trips are often called trendsetter trips. Fabio was just such a beauty giant that he was rewarded often for all of his hard work with such trips. Both Monica and Fabio had public Instagram accounts where they would brag about their lavish lifestyles. They would often post their vacations, photos of their family, and photos of one another in an attempt to portray their marriage and their life as perfect. But as we all know, nothing in this world is perfect. Around 2014 to 2015, Monica became dissatisfied with her phenomenal life and husband that's giving her everything. She wanted more excitement. At that time, she joined a racquetball league at her local LA Fitness that was located in the Woodlands Park area. After joining the league, she would hire a man named Matt Nurse to be her personal trainer. Matt was substantially younger than Monica and just extraordinarily physically fit. Monica became so enamored with Matt that she started downloading photos from his social media account and saving it to her Hotmail email account. Around June of 2015, Monica began flirting with Matt. She would often invite Matt out to lunch and drinks. On one occasion, Matt did take Monica up on her offer, and the two had lunch in the Calabasas area. Eventually, Monica just upped the ante and asked Matt for some, you know. Matt was nowhere near interested in Monica. He shut her down expeditiously and quickly, and he let her know that he was not having any of that. That's what he did. After that cold and vicious shutdown, Monica's ego took a hit. She confided in Matt that she was just extremely unhappy in her marriage. Matt, as most people with common sense would do, asked her why not just leave then. Monica's response is that she would be a fool to throw away her lavish lifestyle and almost 2 decades of marriage. Despite the complete and brutal rejection that Monica received from Matthew, she stayed in that racquetball league at that LA Fitness. It was there where she made numerous friends, including a man by the name of Robert Baker. Robert Baker was the racquetball team league coordinator, but he also had a pretty torrid past. Around 2016, Monica invited Baker over to her home with her friends while Fabio was away for business. By the time that she invited him over to her home, she was already embroiled in a deep-seated, torrid love affair with him. Gosh, she moves on quickly. The affair is speculated to have started somewhere around December of 2015. At that point, Monica shared some flirtatious emails with Robert about getting training and lessons in racquetball from him. Although compared to her husband, Fabio, Robert Baker was a brokey and didn't have no money, no life advancement, no career prospects, no prospects for advancement. Monica wanted some of that anyway, I guess. So remember how I said that Robert Baker had a pretty torrid past? Let's talk about it. Before becoming a racquetball coordinator at LA Fitness, Robert Baker was in the Army. From 2015 to 2017, Baker, almost pushing 50 or past it, was living with the roommate. That's kind of a stark contrast from her husband being able to provide her a whole cleaning staff, right? In addition to being in the military, Robert was a former adult film star. He had at least one film that was seen by some of Monica's friends, and they in turn told her about this.
Police didn't know much about Baker's background, but she did hear about his movie career from a friend who happened to spot him in an adult film.
That's like the kind of gossip you just need to tell someone.
Who did you tell?
I told Monica.
But here's the worst of it all. Robert Baker was a registered sex offender. In 1993, Robert pled guilty to 6 counts: lewd and lascivious acts with a child under 14, unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, continuous sexual abuse of a child under 14, 2 counts of oral copulation with a child, and sodomy of a child under 16. The worst part of it all, that the child in question was Robert Baker's former stepdaughter from a former marriage. Let's put the brokey aside for a minute and let's talk about the rock star in all of this. 6 months prior to his death, Fabio was excited about celebrating his up-and-coming 50th birthday. 50 is a huge milestone, and Fabio celebrated by buying himself his dream car, a used Porsche Turbo. Fabio was planning to celebrate by driving his Porsche Turbo to Pebble Beach to meet up with his friends to play golf. Unfortunately, he was brutally killed before those plans could come to fruition. On January 23rd of 2017, a little more than 5 months shy of Fabio's 50th milestone birthday, his life would tragically end. Fabio was enjoying his time in his back patio, his typical routine, when 2 assailants would come and stab him to death. he and Monica's then 16-year-old daughter, Isabella, would come home to her father's unconscious body. Isabella immediately called 911. A neighbor's security camera would catch the two masked assailants run into Fabio's home shortly before the murder and leave shortly thereafter, driving his Porsche Turbo. At the time of the murder in 2017, the Los Angeles area was plagued with numerous burglaries. There was a burglary ring of a bunch of different people that would go into celebrity homes and take jewels, among other things. Because of the high-profile nature of these burglary rings, LAPD originally assumed that Fabio was just another target in that. Some of the other celebrity victims included Derek Fisher, who the burglars were able to take $300,000 worth of jewels and money from, Nicki Minaj, who the burglars were able to take $175,000 worth of jewels and money from, and Alanis Morissette, who the burglars were able to take more than $2 million of jewels and money from. In addition to the surveillance footage at the neighbor's home, the Sementilli home had 4 cameras around the general property. When police learned of this, they were excited at the opportunity to catch the assailants on camera. But unfortunately, and according to Monica, all 4 of those cameras were miraculously and mysteriously down, all at the same time, all while the murder was taking place. Police's suspicion started to grow, specifically because if it truly were the burglars involved, why didn't they take Fabio's $8,000 Rolex watch that was on his wrist before leaving the home? Because of that, and some other clues pointing them away from these burglars, police quickly ruled them out as suspects. But then who did it? One of police's first clues was that they found DNA left in the Sementilli home. Police did a test of the DNA, and it came back to no one other than Robert Baker. But what would this brokey have to do with killing this superior hairstylist? Why would he do that? After making the connection to Robert Baker, police monitored his phone calls and text messages. It was through that monitoring that police found thousands of calls and text messages between Robert Baker and guess who? Monica Sementilli. In fact, just days after Fabio's death, Monica held a wake for him in her backyard. The expenses of the wake were covered by Wella because, like I said, Fabio was a rock star. Do you know who attended the wake with Monica? That's right, Robert Baker. Fabio's friends and family that were in attendance at the wake thought it was extraordinarily peculiar to have this random man with no connection to Fabio there as well. Fabio's son from the prior marriage, Luigi, did notice something extraordinarily odd about Robert and his appearance at that wake.
Robert and Monica were in the corner talking to each other, sort of away from the party.
And there was something else Luigi noticed about Baker.
He had bandages on his hands.
Specifically, Luigi noted that Robert had bandages around his finger. Another one of Monica's friends was able to take pictures that were eventually provided to the police department. Do you remember how I said that Robert left his DNA on the scene of the Sementilli home? Well, yeah, that's right. As he was stabbing Fabio to death, he inadvertently cut himself. That's how he left the DNA, and that's why he was bandaged. There was a separate wake that was held for Fabio with other people, including his family in Canada. While Monica was presenting this false public facade, claiming she was mourning her husband's death and he was the love of her life, and this would have been 20 full years of marriage, she was sending nude pictures of herself to Robert. On the day of the murder, around 3:30 p.m., police started to find Monica's behavior quite a bit suspicious. She drove the family's black Ford F-150 to a Target location, stopped for a minute, and an individual just hopped in the vehicle.
According to prosecutors, this surveillance video shows Monica left home at 3:26 p.m., driving the family's black Ford F-150 pickup.
This is where she came, according to prosecutors, to establish her alibi.
So a lot happens in this parking lot. She pulls in here in her Ford 150 pickup truck right in front of this store, stops for just a few minutes.
Prosecutors were later to learn that that person is Robert Baker.
Prosecutors say they have video where it appears an individual gets into Monica's truck. They say that person was Robert Baker.
As she was leaving Target, prosecutors learned that Monica was fixated on her phone. They were able to gather that information from surveillance camera footage, and they were able to take still footages from that surveillance camera. Side note, it is not always required that prosecutors are to get a warrant for surveillance footage. In a lot of cases, prosecutors can just ask the holder of the footage whether they'd be willing to provide it as part of an ongoing investigation. And because most people in the world would like to be helpful when investigations are occurring, they voluntarily offer it. So, as Monica's fixated on her phone, prosecutors in the police department are wondering, well, why is that? Prosecutors would later learn that Monica was live streaming surveillance footage from her home around the time of Fabio's murder. The camera that Monica was streaming from wasn't facing the pool and the back patio where Fabio was at, but it was facing towards the entrance of the home. And what could she see from that? Who was going and coming from her home on that date, i.e. Robert Baker. Prosecutors eventually learned that 6 months prior to Fabio's murder, Monica forwarded along a very interesting email to Robert Baker.
The prosecutor says 6 months before the murder, Monica forwarded this email sharing details of her home security system with Baker.
She provided the password, the username, the login credentials, as well as the user manual to Robert Baker the same day that she received it from the surveillance company.
Specifically, Monica forwarded along an email that contained the username, password, and user manual of her home surveillance cameras to Robert Baker. Now, why would he need to have that information? Shortly after the murder, prosecutors and the police department found Monica's behavior a little suspicious as well. Prosecutors noted that Monica did not move out of her home to protect her and her daughters, nor did she replace the security system that she alleged to have been down. Prosecutors argue that's because she knew who her husband's murderers were. So we talked a little bit earlier about Monica and Robert's illicit affair. Prosecutors went into very vivid details about it. So let's talk about that. Monica and Robert weren't just having a quote normal affair, whatever that means. They were swingers. Robert and Monica went on this website called Lifestyle Lounge, where they would meet other couples for torrid affairs. In a lot of situations, Monica would even live stream herself pleasing other men as Robert watched. Monica also sent hundreds of photos of her nude body to Robert. So back to my earlier question, why would this brokey do this? Well, you're about to find out. A little shy of 6 months later, both Robert and Monica were arrested for Fabio's murder on June 14th of 2017. They were both indicted and ultimately pled not guilty to the charges against them. After 6 full years of waiting for his trial, Robert Baker, then 61, entered a no contest plea to first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
Friday in court, Baker pleaded no contest to the murder charges in exchange for life in prison and admitted to the special circumstance allegation of murder for financial gain, the ultimate betrayal on full display.
A no contest plea is basically a defendant saying, I'm not admitting I did anything wrong, but I'll admit that the evidence kind of looks like I might have done something wrong, so I'll just plead. Basically, that's what that means. After his plea, Baker was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. So you remember how I said there were 2 masked assailants? So who was the other person that was with Robert? That person was later identified as Christopher Austin. Austin was later arrested in October of 2023.
Christopher Austin in court today and now formally charged with conspiracy in addition to a previous charge of murder. For nearly 7 years, he was on the loose, but arrested earlier this month in Washington state and extradited to California. All of this goes back to 2017 and the gruesome murder of famed hairstylist and beauty industry executive Fabio Sementilli. He was stabbed to death on the patio of his Woodland Hills home. The LAPD then arrested Sementilli's wife, Monica, and her lover, Robert Baker, and charged them with first-degree murder. Now, prosecutors allege that Austin is claiming that on the day of the murder, he was there when Baker got the call from Monica that Fabio was home alone and the coast was clear. The DA alleges Austin was at the murder scene and took part in the stabbing. Austin says that Robert mentioned that Monica wanted her husband dead for the insurance money.
Unlike Monica and unlike Baker, Austin pretty much pled immediately. Austin entered a plea to second-degree murder and personal use of a knife in exchange for the lighter sentence of 16 years to life. In addition, Austin agreed to offer his truthful testimony against Monica. After some COVID delays, the first day of Monica's trial began on January 24th of 2025. Prosecutor Beth Silverman delivered her opening statement for the state.
As part of his job at Wella, Fabio had to move his family to the United States, and so therefore he had to leave behind his large extended family, and they moved to the LA area approximately 7 years before his murder. He was the first to be able to bridge the gap between hairdressers and the corporate world, which was extremely remarkable, as you hear. He went from being a famous Canadian hairstylist and platform artist to being hired as an executive vice president of education in a worldwide $4 billion company. He made a substantial salary as an executive, by most people's standards, I would suspect, by all of us. He traveled the country and he traveled the world, making connections and growing Wella's hair care product business with his large team, and you're going to hear from a lot of those people. Fabio created, based on his charisma, a very wide circle of friends in Los Angeles. He also had a wide circle of friends in Canada, mostly people associated with the beauty industry. You're going to hear that he and his wife, the defendant, socialized often. They entertained at their home. They hosted holiday parties and summer pool parties and barbecues and things of that nature, as you see here. Fabio's success led to valuable privileges for his family. There were massive changes in lifestyle, where he went from being a hairdresser and a platform artist to a corporate job as a consequence of his personal efforts. His executive position, as you could imagine, came with many benefits for him and his family's future, such as life insurance, stock options, retirement accounts, health insurance, and various other benefits. And naturally, his wife and his children reaped the benefits because, as we all know, that's what a family and a marriage is supposed to be all about. The Sementillis bought a large, beautiful home in an upscale neighborhood in the San Fernando Valley, which you see here. This was actually the second home they bought in the San Fernando Valley. The family lived here on Queen Victoria Road in Woodland Hills for approximately 4 years prior to his death. They appeared to have a great life, the kind that most people would dream of. When not working or traveling for business, Bob would always sit on the back patio. You can see on the bottom right, there is a covered area. He would sit in that back area to relax. He had a TV out there. He had a fire pit. He worked out there. He held meetings out there. He posted to his professional social media posts to the industry out there. He would sit back there and he would relax. And one thing that Fabio loved to do when he sat back there, whether he was taking meetings or working, was he would love to sit back there and smoke cigars. And this is where he eventually was murdered. Not only was the defendant having an affair with Baker, but they were also swinging with other people. Some of you might be too young to remember what that word even means. But they were swinging with other people, meaning that they were having sex with other individuals as groups or three-ways, that the defendant was having sex with other men while Baker watched, sometimes over Skype, and that a lot of those photographs were also found in her iCloud account or in Baker's Dropbox, or both. You're going to hear they used a specific website for this lifestyle Lounge, an explicit swinger website, in order to communicate with third parties and set up dates for group sex. You're going to hear that Lifestyle Lounge allows individuals and couples to register social style accounts in order to meet one another across the country. You're going to hear that over 1,500 log entries were found on the defendant's iPhone web history between July 2nd of 2016 and July 13th, 2017 for this particular website. You're also going to hear that additional entries were found on her tablet. You're going to hear she had an LG tablet. I just wanted to remind you of what we were talking about when I left off last Friday. We were discussing that on the night of February 21st of 2017, not even a month after the murder of her husband, the defendant was followed to this location, the Dime Bar on Fairfax Avenue, by a surveillance unit, the Gangs and Narcotics Division. As you recall, I talked about the fact that the defendant and Baker went into the location for a while, that the defendant came back out. She was smoking a cigarette, and they observed as she began speaking with the bouncer, began rubbing the bouncer's inner thigh area, grabbed him by the back of the neck and began kissing him, and that those observations will be testified to by Detectives Cheng and Anaya during the course of this trial over the next several weeks.
I mean, to each his own, but Beth's opening statement was extraordinarily detailed, but it was also pretty long. I think it went into 2 full days, or maybe a day and a half. In her opening statement, Beth described the torrid nature of the affair. In addition, she described that the motive for the murder was Fabio's life insurance policy. That's right. Monica stood to inherit more than $2 million should she be paid out for that life insurance policy. Monica even started asking friends and family about Fabio's life insurance policy the same night he was murdered. The second day of trial continued, with Miss Silverman still doing her opening on January 29th of 2025. Defense attorney Blair Berk argued that Robert was the mastermind for this murder, and Monica had nothing to do with it.
This is really my first opportunity to speak to you all directly, and I really want you to know how much I appreciate that opportunity. My name is Blair Berk, and along with my colleagues Leonard Levine, Jeremy Babbage, Regina Peter, and Tom Jones, it is our privilege and our great responsibility to be representing Monica Sementilli. Monica, can you stand up, please? Representing Monica Sementilli in defending against these charges that we believe the evidence will show are untrue. Since the moment this woman was arrested 7.5 years ago, Monica has steadfastly maintained that she is innocent of these charges, and she has consistently pled not guilty in this case. Monica has from the start made clear that there was absolutely no reason, no desire that she would have ever wanted her husband Fabio to be dead. And you will see, ladies and gentlemen, with the evidence that will be presented at trial, not anything Ms. Silverman has said to you, which is certainly not evidence, nor do we believe it will be the evidence, and not anything I say right now, as the judge will instruct you. It is only the evidence you will receive at trial which you have to base any decision you make on. Over the last Friday and now Tuesday, you have heard hours of argument from Ms. Silverman about the evidence she expects to be shown in this trial. But over those hours and hours of slides and photos and notes and texts and statements about what she expects the evidence to be, you have not heard one piece of evidence, one text, one letter, one recorded call, one statement by Monica Sementilli, or any indication that Monica Sementilli ever uttered a word about wanting her husband dead. We believe that the reason that Monica is not guilty of these charges is that the evidence will show that everything Ms. Silverman talked about, everything she presented before you in the last 2 days, has only to do with two things. One, that she was having an affair with Robert Baker. And two, that it turned out that Robert Baker decided that he was going to kill her husband.
State then called their first witness, who was the LA firefighter who responded to the home following Isabella's 911 call.
On January 23rd of 2017, around 5:06 in the evening, were you notified to respond to a location specifically at 5012 Queen Victoria in Woodland Hills, which is the county of Los Angeles?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain how you're dispatched to a location?
Yes, ma'am. So we get that comes through our station alert alarm system. That base call basically goes to our dispatch center, and then we get dispatched from the station, or if we're out and about training or something like that, we get it on our computer screen on the MDT, which is in our rigs, and then also on the radio. But in that case, we were dispatched from the fire station, and then that's probably all information that's given, that's filtered through our dispatch and whoever's handling that call, and what I guess they see, what level of care, what fire resource they need to send based off what's happening, I guess, on the dispatch side.
Ultimately, then, did you review and hear whether subsequently the 911 call that was initiated, which sent you to that location?
Not the all the information, I guess. Yes, from what.
Okay. And then with the court's permission, I'll play the call. Thank you.
What?
She's inside the house?
No, he's outside.
Okay, he's away from the fire, is that correct?
He's a little bit near, but yeah, he's kind of near the fire.
Okay. Go ahead and put him on back. Put him on back as soon as you can.
Okay.
You don't smell gas. You don't smell gas or anything, is that correct? I want you in on the way. Do you smell gas? Okay, good. Go ahead and put him on back.
Okay, I'm really trying. I really getting really heavy.
Try it again. Keep trying. Use all your strength, okay?
It's helpful upstairs. Oh my God.
Just get him on the back side. Do this quickly.
Okay, I'm trying. It's really happy. That's not working. Oh my God.
Just pull his arm one direction and get him on his back.
I am.
Okay, you're doing good. Keep doing it. We gotta get him on his back. Do it quickly. Try again. You gotta keep trying. Get him off the chair. You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep going.
Okay, but if I pull him off the stairs, he gets closer to the fire.
Okay, please use the chair and pull it away.
And is that a fair, accurate depiction of the 911 call associated with this call that you responded to?
Yes, ma'am. Sounds.
On day 3, January 30th of 2025, prosecutors put on Detective Ryan Verna and the Sementilli's former housekeeper, Delia Rivera Pacheco.
There's a seat for the interpreter if you wish.
Pardon Your Honor?
You can have a seat as well if you wish, or you can stand.
No, I'd rather be standing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And for the record, say spelling first and last name, please.
Relato, ¿puede dar su nombre? Mi nombre y apellido, por favor.
Delia Rivera Pacheco.
Delia Rivera Pacheco. ¿Lo puede deletrear?
D-E-L-I-A Rivera R-I-A R-I-B-E-R-A
Pacheco.
P-A-C-H-E-C-O
D-E-L-I-A-R-I-V Victor E-R-A P-A-C-H-E-C-O.
Thank you. And you may proceed.
Gracias.
Good morning, Ms. Rivera.
Buenos días, señor Rivera.
Buenos días.
Good morning.
Ready? Okay. Back in 2017, that time frame, where were you employed?
En el 2017, en ese periodo de tiempo, ¿dónde estaba trabajando?
Trabajé en la residencia, limpiando casas, en la residencia de la familia Sementilli.
I was working at the residence. I was working cleaning houses at the Sementilli residence.
Okay, and the person sitting over here in the blue jacket with the ponytail at defense table over here, do you recognize her?
¿Usted reconoce aquí a la señora que está sentada con la de caballo en la mesa de la defensa? Yes.
Who is that?
¿Quién es?
Mónica Sementilli.
Mónica Sementilli.
Was she one of the employers that you had during the year of 2017?
Sí. Yes.
If I may mark as People's 13, a photograph of an individual, a male. Do you recognize him?
¿Lo reconoce?
Sí.
Yes.
Who is that?
¿Quién es?
Fabio Sementilli.
Fabio Sementilli.
Was he also your employer with the defendant Monica Sementilli?
También su empleador con la acusada.
Sí.
de Sementilli. Yes.
What did you do for the Sementillis? What was your job?
¿Cuál es su trabajo con los Sementillis? ¿De qué trabajaba?
Limpiaba la casa.
I used to clean the house.
As I stated at the beginning, this case is still ongoing. They're gonna be in trial for a very long time, even after I upload this video. According to the prosecutor's opening statement, she anticipates that the trial will take around 6 to 8 full weeks. I can provide you guys an update should you want one, but for right now, this is all I've got. Fabio's family didn't deserve this. Fabio himself didn't deserve this. He gave Monica his life. He gave her everything he could. He loved her with every fiber of his being. And although the charges are still pending against Monica, so everything at this point is alleged, the prosecutors believe Monica to be involved in the brutal killing of her husband. Like always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you want a part 2, let me know down below. Thank you so much. Take care.